Jesus teaches in parables. On that day Jesus went out of the house and sat by the seaside. Again he began to teach by the seaside. Great multitudes gathered to him, so that he entered into a boat in the sea and sat down. And all the multitude were on the land by the sea and stood on the beach. When a great multitude came together and people from every city were coming to him, he spoke to them many things in parables and taught them many things in parables. In his teaching, he told them by a parable, saying, Listen. Behold, the farmer went out to sow his seed. As he sowed, some seeds fell along by the roadside, and they were trampled underfoot, and the birds of the sky came and devoured them. Other seed fell on the rocky ground where it didn't have much soil, and immediately it sprang up, because it had no depth of earth soil, and as soon as it grew, it withered away, because it had no moisture. When the sun had risen, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. Others fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up with it and choked it, and it yielded no fruit. Others fell on into the good ground soil and grew and yielded fruit, growing up and increasing. And some produced 30 times, some 60 times, and some 100 times as much fruit. As he said these things, he called out, Whoever has ears to hear, let him hear. When he was alone, those who were around him with the 12 asked him about the parables. The disciples came and said to him, Why do you speak to them in parables? Then his disciples asked him, What does this parable mean? He answered them, To you it is given to know the mysteries of God's kingdom, the kingdom of heaven, but it is not given to them. To the rest, to those who are outside, all things are done and given in parables, that, seeing they may see and not perceive, and hearing they may hear and not understand, lest perhaps they should turn again, and their sins should be forgiven them. For whoever has, to him will be given, and he will have abundance, but whoever doesn't have, from him will be taken away even that which he has. Therefore I speak to them in parables, because seeing they don't see, and hearing they don't hear, neither do they understand. In them the prophecy of Isaiah is fulfilled, which says, By hearing you will hear, and will in no way understand, seeing you will see, and will in no way perceive, for this people's heart has grown callous, their ears are dull of hearing, and they have closed their eyes. Or else perhaps they might perceive with their eyes, hear with their ears, understand with their heart, and would turn again, and I would heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For most certainly I tell you that many prophets and righteous men desired to see the things which you see, and didn't see them, and to hear the things which you hear, and didn't hear them. He said to them, Don't you understand this parable? How will you understand all of the parables? Hear, then, the parable of the farmer. Now the parable is this, the farmer sows the word. The seed is the word of God. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and doesn't understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away that which has been sown in his heart. This is what was sown by the roadside. The ones along by the road are those where the word is sown and who hear, and when they have heard, then immediately the devil Satan comes and takes away the word from their heart which has been sown in them, that they may not believe and be saved. These in the same way are those who are sown on the rocky places, who, when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with joy. What was sown on the rocky places, those on the rock are they who, when they hear the word, immediately receive the word with joy, yet they have no root in themselves, but endures for a while and are short-lived. They believe for a while, then fall away in time of temptation. When oppression or persecution arises because of the word, immediately they stumble. Others are those who are sown among the thorns. What was sown and fell among the thorns, these are those who have heard the word, but as they go on their way they are choked with the cares of this age, and the deceitfulness of riches, and pleasures of life, and the lusts of other things, and they bring no fruit to maturity. These things, entering in choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. Those which were sown on in the good ground are those, who with an honest and good heart, having heard the word, understand it, accept it, hold it tightly, who most certainly bears fruit and produces fruit with perseverance, some 30 times, some 60 times, and some 100 times as much. He set another parable before them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field, but while people slept, his enemy came and sowed darnel weeds also among the wheat, and went away. But when the blade sprang up and produced grain, then the darnel weeds appeared also. The servants of the householder came and said to him, Sir, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Where did these darnel weeds come from? He said to them, An enemy has done this. The servants asked him, Do you want us to go and gather them up? But he said, No, lest perhaps while you gather up the darnel weeds, you root up the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest, and in the harvest time I will tell the reapers, first, gather up the darnel weeds, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. He said to them, Is a lamp brought to be put under a basket or under a bed? Isn't it put on a stand? No one, when he has lit a lamp, covers it with a container or puts it under a bed, but puts it on a stand, that those who enter in may see the light. For there is nothing hidden except that it should be made known, neither was anything made secret but that it should come to light. For nothing is hidden that will not be revealed, nor anything secret that will not be known and come to light. If any man has ears to hear, let him hear. He said to them, Take heed and be careful therefore what and how you hear. With whatever measure you measure, it will be measured to you, and more will be given to you who hear. For whoever has, to him more will be given, and whoever doesn't have, from him will be taken away even that which he thinks he has. He said, God's kingdom is as if a man should cast seed on the earth, and should sleep and rise night and day, and the seed should spring up and grow, though he doesn't know how. For the earth bears fruit by itself, first the blade, then the ear, then the full grain in the ear. But when the fruit is ripe, immediately he puts in the sickle, because the harvest has come. He set another parable before them, saying, What is God's kingdom like? How will we liken God's kingdom? To what shall I compare it, or with what parable will we illustrate it? The kingdom of heaven is like a grain of mustard seed which a man took, and sowed in his field and put in his own garden. It grew and became a large tree, and the birds of the sky live in its branches. A grain of mustard seed indeed is smaller than all seeds, but when it is grown and sown in the earth, though it is less than all the seeds that are on the earth, yet when it is sown, grows up and becomes greater than all the herbs, and becomes a tree, and puts out great branches, so that the birds of the air and sky come and lodge in its branches and can lodge under its shadow. Again he said, To what shall I compare God's kingdom? He spoke another parable to them. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast which a woman took and hid in 3 measures, 40 liters or 50 pounds, of meal or flour, until it was all leavened. With many such parables he spoke the word to them, as they were able to hear it. Jesus spoke all these things in parables to the multitudes, and without a parable he didn't speak to them, but privately to his own disciples he explained everything, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken through the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables, I will utter things hidden from the foundation of the world. Then Jesus sent the multitudes away, and went into the house. His disciples came to him, saying, Explain to us the parable of the darnel weeds of the field. He answered them, He who sows the good seed is the Son of Man, the field is the world, the good seeds are the children of the kingdom, and the darnel weeds are the children of the evil one. The enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are angels. As therefore the darnel weeds are gathered up and burned with fire, so will it be at the end of this age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all things that cause stumbling and those who do iniquity, and will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in the field, which a man found and hid. In his joy, he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who is a merchant seeking fine pearls, who having found one pearl of great price, he went and sold all that he had and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a dragnet that was cast into the sea and gathered some fish of every kind, which, when it was filled, fishermen drew up on the beach. They sat down and gathered the good into containers, but the bad they threw away. So it will be in the end of the world. The angels will come and separate the wicked from among the righteous, and will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Jesus said to them, Have you understood all these things? They answered him, Yes, Lord. He said to them, Therefore every scribe who has been made a disciple in the kingdom of heaven is like a man who is a householder, who brings out of his treasure new and old things. When Jesus had finished these parables, he departed from there.